Welcome, everybody. Today is a special session because I have two big announcements to make. Plus, I'm going to show you some photos. And give me 1 second here to activate the camera. It's so nice to be here with everyone. Welcome. I'm Gustavo Tolosa. I'm your starch solution and plant-based coach and webinar producer. And like I said, I have some pretty awesome announcements to make at the end. So make sure that you stay all the way to the end. But first, let's make sure that we cover chapter 2 of the Healthiest Diet on the Planet today. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. It really helps me to continue to produce these free services that I do for all of you. So let's go and get started from the book. But before that, actually, I do need to address a question that some of the viewers posted in a video from the previous series, the Start Solution. This viewer was very nice, very polite, and he I'm not going to say he or she, but this person brought up to my attention that there were some comments about coconut water that I quoted from Dr. Esselstyn's book that are incorrect, and that it needs to be corrected. So this person says that coconut water is just that water from the inside of the coconut. Let me just say a couple of things. I don't want to spend too much time, not because I don't think it's important, but because I think that there are a lot of people here that are at different stages in this journey of plant-based, and whether they drink coconut water or not, it's not going to make one little difference in their lives. What we want to make sure is that people leave the foods that are poison, that are intoxicating them, all of the dairy and animal products, all the vegetable oils, things like that, processed foods. And so as they continue to improve, then we can get down into these nice topics and details that they interest me. I just don't want beginners to be caught up in these minor topics and forget about the main issue of why they're sick. And it's not whether they drink tap water or coconut water or sparkling water or whatever. It's because of the excessive amount of animal products. So it is an interesting topic. I mentioned it in that book because there are two doctors that I mean, there are a lot of doctors that I respect and admire, but there are two that are at the very top of the list, and one is Dr. McDougall. The other one is Dr. Esselstyn. And so I quoted this from the Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease Cookbook on page 39, where Dr. Esselstyn says, coconut water is 8% saturated fat and about, it doesn't say that it is exactly, but about 50% sugar. And he says, save your money and don't buy it. So I went and I tried to do some research. Unfortunately, my overly busy life at the moment doesn't let me get into and do a lot of research. But if you're willing to, I would appreciate it. And I found the nutritional content of this water in different places, and it's given in grams, and I didn't have the time to do the math and get it into percentages. I just think that Dr. McDougall and Dr. Esselstyn are international figures who, they're very scrutinized. So I don't, if they put something like that in a book, I usually take it as being correct, but that doesn't mean nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. So is it possible to have a mistake? Sure, I'm sure. So I'm going to look it up. In the meantime, I did find that coconut water is not just water. It does have some sugar and it has some fat, but I couldn't calculate the percentages. So I don't mean this as a disrespect to the person who commented. I actually appreciate it because these are the things that make me excited to continue my journey through the plant-based world, and I will continue to look into it. But I wanted to address to make sure that at least I say something. I just want to focus in our book clubs in the main sources of why people are sick and how to reverse it and how to prevent it and how to fix it. So I'll continue, and if any of you has any more information, please send it my way. All right, so let's move on to the healthiest diet on the planet. And I have the book here. And what I want to do today is cover chapter 2, because this is a chapter in which Dr. McDougall tells us a little bit about his story. And we all have stories. And I think I just think that it's very interesting to see, to read about where he comes from, and how he ended up where he is. So we will definitely, this chapter, we're not going to dig a lot into it, but I do want to go through some areas that I highlighted in my book. So I'm going to go to chapter 2, which is page 36. And I know, he mentions how he was born in Detroit, and it was from a family that just his mother fed him what she thought was best, a lot of meat and a lot of dairy, and the foods that she had been taught were the most nutritious. So, but at age 18, at Michigan State University, I suffered a major stroke, a condition that today strikes about 1,000 teenagers annually in the United States. So he did recover from that, about 60% of his strength and coordination, but he still walks with a noticeable limp today, 50 years later. Then he continued through college and eating at the cafeteria all of the food that causes gain weight and illness. And he says that he became so heavy by age 22 that even my own mother called me fat. In the summer of 1971, he met his lovely partner, his wife, Mary, and almost a year later, they moved to Hawaii, where at 25, he says, I began my postgraduate training at the Queens Medical Center in Honolulu. Okay, I'm going to page 38. And the initial insights. So he says that the turning point came soon after I finished my internship at Queens Medical Center. And he says, my first job was as a family practitioner, caring for approximately 5,000 workers at the Hamakua sugar plantation on the Big Island of Hawaii. And he was 26 years old. And he says, I was one of only 4 doctors practicing in the countryside, and my responsibilities were unusually broad. I attended to life from beginning to end, delivering babies, repairing injuries, refilling monthly prescriptions, providing hospital care, and pronouncing people dead. As a result, I became a very experienced doctor, and I am happy to report most of my patients fared well. So here comes a very interesting part in his life when his patients consisted of mostly first, second, third, and fourth generation Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, and Filipinos. And he began to observe distinct patterns, he says. You know, finding patterns is just wonderful. Patterns always give you insights that are very valuable. And those in the first generations were always trim, he noticed. They were always trim, usually active into their 80s and 90s, and never suffered from constipation, hemorrhoids, ulcers, diabetes, heart disease, multiple sclerosis, breast cancer, prostate cancer, or colon cancer, the most common illnesses in most Western populations. Their children and grandchildren, however, did have those illnesses. What was the difference? Well, he quickly discovered that the main difference between the first generation that lived very well into the 80s and 90s and the second and third and fourth generation was the diet. That was the main factor. That's what he noticed in this pattern. My first generation patients had remained faithful to their native starch-based diet, which featured primarily white rice with the addition of fruits and vegetables. Their American-born offspring, however, incorporated more rich Western foods into their diets while cutting back on starches, fruits, and vegetables. As a result, they gained weight and became sicker. So I am turning the page to page 40. And Dr. McDougall says, as a result, you know, when I started noticing these patterns, I changed, he says. As a result, I began to adopt the eating habits of my healthiest elder patients and subsequently lost 40 pounds. I went from about 190 to 150. Since then, I have varied from 150 to 170. I am currently below 150 pounds at 6 feet tall. The change has depended upon how strictly I have adhered to what I know to be the healthiest diet on the planet. Then he goes on to share with you who his 6 mentors are on page 40, 41, 42. And those 3 pages, I think, are very important and just great to see, you know, just like musicians in my case. You know, you have this sense of lineage, I guess, and belonging and knowing where you're coming from. You know, I studied with a teacher who was a student from a student of Beethoven, let's say, you know, or it could be from Mozart or from Franz Liszt, and that makes a difference in how you in this case you perform, you play your instrument in his case, and how he practiced medicine. So please read those. I'm going to skip that area, but not because it's not important, but because I want to get through the rest of the material today, which I think is very interesting. So then on page 43, he goes on to explain his experience at St. Helena Hospital. And that was in 1986. The Seventh-day Adventist St. Helena Hospital in Napa Valley, California, invited me to run the McDougall program, a lifestyle residential program designed to improve health, help people lose excess body weight, and get people off unnecessary medications. And so he says that his protocol aligned perfectly with the Seventh-day Adventists, because they advocate of a vegetarian diet and a healthy lifestyle for its religious congregants. And he says, I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist. So St. Helena Hospital was also considered at that time one of the best heart surgery centers in the country. And it did seem odd to him why they would invite him, a doctor who is or was and is against most heart surgeries, to work at a hospital that was making 80% of its income from heart disease. So at that point, he was working at a respected, nationally known hospital, and he figured that he was going to be able to convince health insurers to cover the cost of the program. But he soon learned that after contacting insurance companies over and over and over and trying to explain how he could save them money, finally, he says, one frustrated insurer told me, "McDougall, you just don't get it. As an insurance company, we take a piece of the pie, and the bigger the pie, the more we get." And that was a eureka moment, an aha moment for him. So he continued running the program. He was appearing in just about every TV program and radio program in the country. Dr. McDougall was, and he thought that the program would double or triple in size, and it really wasn't growing that much. He says on page 45, even though I was becoming a national figure, appearing at that time on most of the top TV and radio shows around the country to promote my best-selling books, the number of our participants was far lower than it should have been. And he tried to work with the doctors at the hospital, referring patients to them, hoping that those doctors will refer patients to him, and that never happened. And then he says at the bottom of page 45, but I eventually realized the real reason was that treating these patients with the way that with diet was not making money. And when Dr. McDougall approached the hospital to treat MS patients, they were not interested, and he soon realized the real reason was that treating MS patients didn't generate significant profits. I explained that our primary purpose as a hospital was to treat the sick, and because of the Adventist orientation, we were called to treat our patients with a vegetarian diet therapy. Still, they were not interested. And so 5 days later, when it was time to renew my contract, I submitted it with void written over the front page, Dr. McDougall says. Later, I was told they had assumed I would never leave their hospital setting because they wrongly believed I couldn't run the McDougall program without their organization. So the truth is that Dr. McDougall had actually run his program away from the hospital. And he goes on to explain how that went. The truth was I had run the McDougall program many times without the hospital. Between 1999 and 2001, for instance, I ran my program near Minneapolis for the medical insurance company Blue Cross Blue Shield. And during this 3-year period with the 3 different employee groups within the company, I was able to show the same remarkable health benefits we were getting at St. Helena Hospital. Weight loss, reduction in cholesterol, blood pressure and blood sugars, and relief from indigestion, constipation, and arthritis, among other short and long-term benefits. What's more, I was able to document a 44% reduction in healthcare costs for each of the 3 groups based on the insurance company's own claims data. I had a similar experience in Lakeland, Florida, where I cared for some of the employees of Publix supermarkets. Both of these remote programs were run out of local hotels. I'm sorry, at hotels. Within 72 hours, I can set up a 10-day McDougall program anywhere. So in the year 2002, it says here on page 47, I launched the first McDougall program at the Flamingo Resort in Santa Rosa, California. If you haven't been to the Flamingo Resort, it is such a special place, and I was very, very lucky and very privileged to have been there many times and enjoyed that beautiful resort surrounded by mountains and the beautiful city of Santa Rosa. And that's where in 2002, he started running his 10-day program. The number of our participants doubled, he says, in no time. The food now tastes as if Mary made it at home. Like many things in life, we have asked ourselves why we waited so long to take over complete control of our program. We have gone on to accomplish so much and have built a devoted following in the process. So that's pretty much, then he mentions the nonprofit foundation and other programs which are not running right now, like the Advanced Study Weekend and travel adventure trips. And I don't know if they will continue with those or not. So I think that this is a very good chapter to read, and to it's a little window into Dr. McDougall's and Mary's life and his struggles and his successes. And if there is a doctor that deserves all the success in the world, that is Dr. McDougall. So today, I thought that we would start with this gift that you have in the middle of the book. On page 78, you have right here this much. This is why Dr. McDougall accepted to write this book. He told me many times, actually he told to the public, because we did run a few webinars that are in my YouTube channel when he was writing this book. And he said he denied writing this book several times until the publishers agreed to publish this in the middle of the book, because to him, this is the most important part of the book. So, and that insert is actually available on his website for free. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. And so Dr. McDougall's color picture book. I want to start this today. We will not finish it, and we'll finish it next time. Food poisoning, that's what he calls it. How to cure it by eating beans, corn, pasta, potatoes, rice, etc. The following translations, okay, well, this is because the book has been translated in many languages, and he's asking you to distribute this to friends and family, okay? Forget about being reasonable, sensible, prudent, or moderate. You can't. You must fix the food. Moderation does not work for changing life-destroying habits. A cigarette smoker never quits by cutting down. Alcoholics do not sober up by switching to beer or wine. You must treat food poisoning with the same good or evil, right or wrong, go or stop, green or red attitude as you would treat drug addiction. Just say no. The foods that are poisoning you and your family. That's very strong and very true and very important. The truth is simple and easy to understand. The McDougall diet is based on starches with vegetables and fruits. That is it. Okay, sometimes we get a little bit hung up on making things complicated. The McDougall diet is based on starches with vegetables and fruits, and it doesn't contain any animal foods or vegetable oils. The McDougall diet may contain some salt, sugar, and/or spice. So starches are plant parts that store large amounts of energy for daily activities. They are very low in fat with no cholesterol. They are rich in protein, vitamins, and minerals, and starches are essential to satisfy your appetite. And they make you trim, strong, and healthy, and they have the green light. That means go eat as much of this as you want, the same as the non-starchy vegetables. They are important for vitamins A and C. They are insufficient in calories to provide for daily energy needs. They should be side dishes only. You must eat a starch-based diet. Eating these vegetables alone, it's a perfect recipe for failure. You're going to be hungry all the time, and you will not get all of the nutrition that you need. Fruits are mostly simple sugars with some vitamins and minerals. They provide flavorful, sweet addition to meals. However, appetite satisfaction is minimal. Generally, 1 to 4 fruits daily is a good goal, depending on your health. You must eat a starch-based diet again. And remember that every time that we say that you're going to change your diet, I have to always mention that you must be in the care of a physician, because food is a powerful medicine, and you need to be under the care of a physician when you make radical changes in your diet. Here is a red light, and it says not food. This is not food. All animal products are full of cholesterol, animal protein, and fat. They have no starch, no dietary fiber, or other essential sugars for health. And they have a lot of chemicals and loads of infection-causing bacteria, parasites, and viruses. People are sick from eating like kings and queens. And this is very interesting. I love this. Historical writings and pictures will tell you how wealthy people who ate meat, poultry, fish, cheese, milk, etc. became fat and sick. The difference is that now billions of people, because of progress, eat like the aristocrats of the past. Food poisoning causes obesity. Notice how Dr. McDougall calls this food poisoning. Food poisoning causes obesity, plus complications like hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, etc. Food poisoning causes diabetes, type 1 and type 2, plus complications, eye damage, kidney failure, gangrene, etc. Food poisoning causes heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, impotence, etc. Food poisoning causes arthritis, rheumatoid, psoriatic, lupus, etc. Food poisoning causes cancer, colon, breast, prostate, uterus. Food poisoning causes GERD, indigestion, esophagitis, ulcers, gallbladder disease, etc. This is a picture that Dr. McDougall's grandchildren loved, and according to him, they thought it was funny. So constipation, not funny what it causes, but the picture actually. Okay, so a surefire cure. Your body is always trying to heal itself. We have said that so many times. Simply stop the food poisoning and the diseases quickly improve or they go away. Food poisoning is primarily caused by eating animal foods and vegetable oils. So Benefits happen quickly. Within 24 hours, expect relief of constipation, indigestion, GERD, oily skin, fatigue, etc. to begin. Within 7 days, expect this. Within 4 months, and so forth. You can read this later on. This is a cost-free, side effect-free treatment. Then here we have one of the earliest controlled scientific trials of the McDougall diet, a Bible story of 2,600 years ago. Daniel and his men eating vegetables were compared to men eating animal foods, like most Americans do now. At the end of the 10 days, the vegetarians looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men who ate the royal food. The gladiators were the Barley Men. Strength and endurance came from eating starches. Think about the warriors of the past and the long-distance runners of today. They are powered by starches. Winners never eat much meat, poultry, dairy, etc. Don't eat it. Do not eat. It's a red traffic light. Meat, cows, pigs, lambs, deer, buffaloes, whales, etc. Whatever has a mother or a father or a face. Don't eat poultry, chicken, turkeys, ducks, etc. Don't eat fish, salmon, tuna, trout, perch, etc. Don't eat shellfish. Don't eat eggs of any kind. Don't eat milk, cow, goat, sheep, camel, etc. or cheese. Do not eat butter or margarine of any kind. Do not eat fake meats and cheeses, hot dogs, sausages, burgers, lunch meats, cheeses, ice cream. Most are made from isolated proteins from soybeans combined with other chemicals. Avoid these fake meats and cheeses. Do not eat vegetable oils. Corn oil, flaxseed, olives, safflower, etc. Remember, the fat oil you eat is the fat you wear. False advertising in order to sell dangerous foods. We've talked about this in our previous series, The Starch Solution. And here he says, all large populations throughout history ate primarily starch. Corn, rice, potatoes, and he gives you all the different areas in the world where the caloric engines of human civilizations was starches. So what is green? What can you eat lots of? Well, wheat and rice, corn, millet. Use fruit juice or a little rice or soy milk, etc. to moisten. Eat lots of oatmeal, millet, kamut, cracked wheat, etc. You can eat this meal for breakfast, lunch, and or dinner. Pancakes, whole wheat, buckwheat, potato, etc. No oil, dairy, or eggs. Hash brown potato. Ooh, this is one of my favorite ones. Oil-free. Fry in a non-stick pan or electric griddle, top with salsa, ketchup, other sauces, etc. Eat lots of bean soups. Lentil, potato, carrot soups, vegetable soups, potatoes boiled, baked, steamed, never fried with oil or fat. Mashed potatoes, another favorite of mine. Idaho, russet, Yukon Gold, etc. Eat for breakfast, lunch, and or dinner. Potatoes provide complete nutrition, protein, amino acids, calcium, iron, fiber, vitamin C, etc. Eat lots of sweet potatoes, baked, mashed, boiled. You can successfully live on a diet of sweet potatoes alone until you find other meals to eat. Bread. Bread is known as the staff of life for good reasons. Do not use butter. Pastas. Think of comfort foods. No olive oil or meat added. lasagna, whole wheat lasagna with vegetables, tomato sauce, spices. Pizza, whole wheat pizza, vegetables, tomato sauce, make with your favorite no oil sauces and spices. Brown rice, even white rice is better for you than animal foods and vegetable oils. Rice and vegetable dishes. Oh, another favorite of mine, sushi. Beans, rice, and corn. Grain-based salads. Whole grain and bean patty burgers. Whole grain bread and vegetable bean spread sandwiches. Fruits. Here it says eat some. Non-starchy vegetables. This is the be careful part. Tofu and other natural soy are fine as condiment, not as the main course. Too many calories, too much fat in these things. Be careful with nuts and seeds. They're fat-filled. Yes, it's good fat. They will keep you overweight and obese. You may become a fat vegan. Avocados, they are fat-filled. 90% of calories are from good but fattening fat. Notice how it's good. This is not bad fat, but it's still fattening. And for some people, this is a problem. For some, they're not. Dry fruit, another thing. High, simple sugar calories. Minimal appetite satisfaction. Be careful with juices. The quality of a food is not improved by eating it 1,000 times with a steel blade, by beating it 1,000 times with a steel blade. Also true with blending vegetables into juices. Again, this is not that it's unhealthy. It's just that be careful. Don't make these the staple of your diet. Be careful with salt, sugar, and spice. Most people can use these flavors. If in doubt, then check with your professional health care advisors. Don't take supplements. The only exception is vitamin B12. Do take vitamin B12 because it says the risk of a B12 deficiency disease is extremely small and it takes more than 3 years to develop. However, the smallest doses sold in stores are 500 micrograms. Likely no side effects occur from the excess. Once a week is adequate. Sunshine and exercise. Some light exercise. Don't hurt yourself with strenuous activities. Some sunshine is essential. Vitamin D and other benefits, but not too much. And one last thought. If not to save yourself and your family, how about saving planet Earth? The livestock industries are producing over half of the global warming gases. It's just beautiful simplicity. And Dr. McDougall felt and feels so proud of that book because many times said, I have said everything that I have to say. And I know that now having a colorful, picture-filled handbook is all we need because this is simple. Let's not make this difficult. It's not difficult. So I want to show you a few photos. I think you'll find this interesting here. Let's see. Hold on just a minute. Someone this week sent me an email. Her name is Carol, and she made Mayan Bowl, which is on page 139 of the book. And she also made Enchilada Sauce, which is on page 236. And she said to me, I used onion, red bell pepper, zucchini, and the small potato for the vegetables and made enough for one serving for lunch, one for dinner the following day, and 2 for the freezer. And here is the picture that she sent me. And I want to encourage you, make some recipes from the book. These recipes are just awesome. Make some. take a picture, send it to me by email at bornforhealth@gmail.com or at info@plantemus.com, plantemus.com. Okay. And then I made one morning, on page 127, I made the banana pancakes. They were, they're there in the pan cooking. And I did add fresh blueberries. And then on top, I put bananas. I don't have any syrup. If I was never crazy about bathing my pancakes with syrup. So I ate them like that, but it's perfectly fine to use, some syrup on them, and just be careful, or just eat them like that. So that was one day, and I was able to get about 22 pancakes from that recipe. I doubled the recipe because I like to keep some on the freezer for some other time. I only make these pancakes about twice a year. Then the next day, I made almond French toast. And on page 126, I was able to find whole wheat bread from a bakery here that is totally natural and organic and doesn't use any conservatives whatsoever. And I used that wonderful bread to make the almond French toast. And I put some chopped peaches, but you can put anything on them. And again, the first batch that I did, like there were 3 of them, they stuck a little bit on the pan. And I was a little bit disappointed. They came out all right, but they weren't the prettiest. Then I guess when the pan became hotter and hotter, then they just didn't stick, and they came out beautifully. And I also, for this one, I didn't double because I wasn't sure if I could freeze these as well as I can freeze the pancakes. You can put any kind of topping on this French toast. So just wanted to share that with you and tell you that I would love to see, if you make anything, I would love to see it. So the moment of truth here is coming when I'm going to announce two things that are very important. Let me answer this question that I see here. How did you give up bread while trying to lose weight? I was coming from such a bad way of eating, and I had over 70 pounds to lose, that I didn't give up bread. So just giving up entirely all the meats and the dairy and the cheese and the vegetable oils, just giving up that. And I was never big on, and I'm not eating nuts and seeds and dry fruits. It's not that I don't like them, but I don't care for them. So just giving up that was enough for me to lose 8 to 10 pounds a month consistently. At one point, the weight started to slow down, so I started giving up other things like bread, in the form of bread or pizzas, and then I cut down on avocados, let's say. But even today, every now and then, I do have bread. I don't make it at home because it's dangerous. I do have an addiction to anything that is baked in bread. So I know that. And just like I can have a jar of nuts and seeds and not touch it at all, other people can have bread in their house. I've seen bread in Dr. McDougall's house, and they're not addicted. So it can be there. But if there's bread in my house, I have to eat it all that day. So I don't make it. So and I only bought this bread to try to make this French toast, but it's something that I would make once a year, maybe twice. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of our session one, we're all different, and it's just part of knowing each other and knowing yourself and see what you have to be careful with. So I'm going to let you know now about something that I've been working on. And a lot of people have asked me at different times if I would ever write a book. And I said, no, I'm too busy. I don't think anybody would be interested. But that is not the case. So together with my dear friend and chef, Shada Soleimani, we are writing a cookbook with a twist. Because in this cookbook, which is going to have some of the most amazing recipes, and it's not because I and Shada are doing it, but because of our backgrounds that we have. We know a lot of the American foods, but because of where she's from and where I'm from, we're going to put some comfort foods there that you will not believe. So, but besides being a cookbook, we will write down for you our experiences. I will let you in some of my innermost secrets, and how we have struggled. And Shada has lost 120 pounds. And I have lost about 70. So it's going to have some international dishes, and it's our experiences, our stories, and always focusing on easy to prepare, and not very time-consuming recipes. This book will be released probably in the next 8 to 9 months. That at least that's the plan, and I will send you updates as things develop, sometimes free recipes. Make sure that you are in my mailing list. To be in my mailing list, you will need to go to my website, which is plantemas.com. And when the pop-up window appears, just put your name and last name and your email, and you will be in my mailing list. So my second announcement needs a drum roll. Or because I'm here next to my piano, it needs something like this. Okay, I have been working on this for about 6 years now. And if you know me, you know that I am a hopeless romantic, and I am a hopeless perfectionist. So I could not release this project until it was perfect, or at least 90% perfect. And, that always gives me an edge to keep going and keep improving. So what is the announcement? The announcement is that I am ready to release my own show that is going to be called The Pianist and the Chef, in which I will merge two of my passions, music and healthy cooking. But that's not all. In this show, besides cooking, and these are going to be exclusive recipes and comfort foods made healthy, and besides playing the piano for you, I will also have guests, and I will introduce you to people who make life interesting and fun and joyful. And I will also introduce you to medical doctors that will explain the benefits of the food that we cook together. And I will take you with me when I go on a trip or when I run around the town. This is a beautiful mountain town. I want you to see it. I want you to see sometimes what my daily life is like. And this show will combine all of that into this perfect symphony of different areas of my life, including cooking as being one of the most important in this show. So today I'm ready to release, for the first time ever, and you guys are the first ones to see this, the official trailer for the show. So here it is. This is very exciting. It's probably less than 2 minutes. And this is how it's going to appear on the internet very soon, probably starting tomorrow, but you are going to be the first. Hold on just a minute and let me. Well, what do you think, guys? That took a lot of work, and I'm really happy to be able to show you all for the first time the trailer for the show. It will be a once a month show, and the first one will be next Sunday, August 23rd, and it will feature a very special tradition of eating gnocchi on the 29th of each month. Gnocchi is a pasta, and yes, I will show you how to eat pasta without flour, totally guiltless. This pasta, gnocchi, is creamy, is wonderful, and I'm going to show you the sauce that goes with it. So it's so creamy, it's so yummy that it's almost too good to be true. And besides the sauce and the gnocchi, the dessert will be something you don't want to miss, is filled and roasted pears with a special sauce that goes with it. And there will be other surprises in the show, and there will be a bonus for those of you who register. I'm going to put right now the registration link in case you want to go ahead and register now. But I want to, let's see, I'm going to put it here. Okay, so you should be able to see that. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link to register is below in the description area. So what is going to be the bonus when you register for this? The bonus is going to be that for those of you who register, we will have an online party on the 29th of August. Now, you really need to know why in most of South America, people eat gnocchi on the 29th of the month, especially in Argentina, why that happens. You can actually make some money while you eat gnocchis. So I'm going to tell you about that, and you will learn it next Sunday, August 23rd. If you cannot attend live, don't worry, because then in a few hours after the show, the live show, you get the replay, and you get to watch the replay as many times as you want, and you will get the PDF with the written recipes. It will be something like a reality show, air live as I cook and guests, and you will be able to see my guests, and we will all be enjoying to eat, eating gnocchis on the 29th. The reason I'm doing this cooking webinar on the 23rd is so that you learn how to make gnocchi without flour, or if you want to make it in the traditional way, I also show you that. And so that the 29th, you can share the gnocchi with your family and tell them the story of why the 29th. And maybe you will want to join me every month and we can all eat together the gnocchi. So I just ask you to help me spread the word by sharing this video and the trailer, which is in my YouTube channel. It's still in private, but tonight it's going to go on public and you can share it as well. So that is my announcement. There are a couple more, but I'm not ready to announce those yet until probably a month from today. But you won't believe what the second show is going to be. I cannot share that yet, but I just plan on making each one of these shows a very fun and inspiring show where you will learn how to make some wonderful food. Then I will pair up each dish with a special piece of music, and sometimes I'm going to bring guest performers, and I will introduce you to some friends and families, and I will show you places here where I'm right now. But as I travel around the world, hopefully in the near future, I will take you with me. So I will see you next Saturday for our 4th installment of the book club. And hopefully I will also see you on Sunday for the cooking show on August 23rd. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to tell you, if you register now, you get 50% off the regular price. So you guys, thank you so much for the support and the encouragement that you've been giving me. I will continue to give you more free content than paid, because that is a passion of mine. But these shows that I'm producing take days and hundreds of hours to produce. So I need to charge, even if it is a little bit, so that I could compensate the amount of time and effort and expenses that it takes. Thank you again. I will see you, and I hope that you will send me some pictures. Goodbye, everyone.